Hey guys, welcome back to part 4 of our Coz3D Jetpack build video. And today what we're going to focus on is primarily just priming. So priming is the most important thing before you start laying down actual paint to your kit. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the paint booth in just a moment. But as a quick recap, we've still got everything disassembled because we want to finish each one of these pieces right now individually, especially if you're doing multiple colors on them. But you'll also notice we have all of our masking down so that we don't have to worry about the areas that we're not going to see. Also, it does make it better to glue plastic to plastic instead of plastic to paint or anything like that where pieces cannot stick as well over the course of time. So let's get everything over to the paint booth and let's get moving on this. We're over in the paint booth, and this is the U-Pol Expert Sandable Primer that I really like to use on these projects. So we are just going to go in and do a light mist over everything. Quick notation, we do have our tanks in on the top, and the reason for this is I'm going to spray them, find out what's showing, and then I'm going to actually mask the parts that don't touch or that you don't see. And I'll show you how we do that here in just a minute. But we're just going to start out and we're just going to give it a nice even coat here. We're not getting it too thick. We're just wanting to get it started here. So we're going to go over it. If we have any runs or drips, which you always hope you don't, typically you don't, but if you do, we can always sand them back out. Alright, so that's a pretty good first coat that we've run on the body anyway. And now I am going to move over to the parts and we're going to get those started, and then we'll be back to show you the final of what we've done. We've got everything primed now. A couple parts I did hit twice after they did cure, mostly in these tops up here because I didn't quite get all the print lines out of them when I sanded them. But now that we've got everything primed, we're going to move over to two tips of the trade that I have for you. The first is I'm going to hit everything with a 400 grit sandpaper. I mean, all we're doing here is just knocking down any imperfections or anything like that. And then we're going to go back and we're going to inspect our parts under the light and make sure that everything's good and smooth. And for the most part, because when we UV resined everything came out really nice. All the layer lines are gone. We've got a couple imperfections in here that we can now go back and sand. And if we have to, go back and hit it with another set of primer. But the big one that I wanted to show you here real quick is when you're working, especially with the top tanks, I usually do this with the bottom tanks as well, but I didn't on this build video just for time purposes. But I left them in here when I did my initial spray. But if you pull them out, you can see where there is no where there's no primer on them. So what I typically do is I actually go back and I just cut along where the edge of the primer is, like this. Get some good see-through tape that you can use. And now you see I've still got quite a bit of white exposed, but I'm going to go through and actually cover up most of where I didn't spray. The reason for that is because when we go to put these in, we want to epoxy them in, and we want to make sure that they have a good hold to them. So I want, again, plastic gluing to plastic or epoxy gluing to the plastic. So that's where we stand on those. I am now ready to take my center tank out and we can go ahead and spray the back of it. I usually leave it in the jetpack when I'm priming it, just because, again, I don't want the threads to get paint in them so that they stick later, or they get gummed up, or they get tighter than what they need to be. So just a couple things there to bear in mind. But now I am going to the next step, and that is I'm going to sand all of these parts down with my 400 grit sandpaper, and then return back to the paint booth if I need to get another coat of primer on them. And then once I'm good and sanded nice and smooth, I'm actually going to start painting. And in this case, it's a Return of the Jedi paint scheme on this kit, and I'm probably not going to show you all the steps of that because it is quite a lengthy process on it. But that's where we stand. Hey guys, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. Drop a comment down in the comments section below. Let us know what you guys want to see me build next. I mean, we've got tons of stuff. We're affiliated with a lot of the files that the Galactic Armory has now. So if you have anything off there you'd like to see us do a build video on, more than happy to. So again, thanks for your time, and we'll catch you in the next video.